You know. So, today, we're going to continue talking about how important definitions are. Because some people don't seem to think they're very important. Case in point, I was talking to the Atheist Edge the other day, and he brought up this idea that if two people in a discussion or argument or debate are having problems defining something for the conversation, then you should take the position of the other person. Take the definition of the other person just to advance the conversation. And to that I say, hell no. Hell no. That's a real bad idea. That's a real bad idea. Here's why. If the definition, the wielder of the definition has the initiative, or in some cases they should just win based on the fact they're using their definition and you're using your definition. Case in point, atheism. The definition atheists and all agree to, because there are many different types of atheists, they all agree to is they do not believe a god or gods exist. Pretty straightforward. Pretty accurate. You can pinpoint what that means in a conversation. Now, in America, the Christians, I'm just going to pick on the Christians a little here because that's them. That's who I have to deal with for the most part. Christians' definition of atheism is you're all abominations. You're all inherently evil because God said so, because you don't worship God. How dare you not worship God? You fucking abominations. How dare you? Yeah, if we use their definition of the word atheist, even if they're calm while saying it, you already lost. You already lost to everyone using that definition. Because at that point, you're just saying, oh, I'm an evil asshole. Yeah, that's what Christians think of atheists. I mean, obviously not all Christians. Some of them actually use the correct terminology, but that's besides the point. The point is, if you use a definition that is emotionally charged against you, then you've already lost. So, what you have to do, you have to have emotionless definitions to the words you're using. It's just plain and simple. The example that I used with Atheist Edge was nihilism, because I'm a nihilist. And most people, it doesn't come up in conversation that much. But it's useful when it's useful. The definition of the word nihilism. There is no inherent value or purpose to anything in the universe. This pencil is not worth 2. This pencil is not worth 3. They have no inherent value or purpose. The purpose of this pencil is how I use it. As in, what do I use this for? Maybe I want to plug a hole with a pencil. Very impractical, but who cares? Maybe I want to write, because that is the purpose we decided it should mostly be used for. Maybe I want to play darts, and instead of darts, I use pencils. It doesn't have an inherent purpose. You can use it in a lot of different ways, but it does not have a purpose that is the only purpose. Its inherent purpose. No, it's a pencil. It just does pencil things. Now, nihilism, according to Google, is the rejection of all religious and moral principles, often in the belief that life is meaningless. See, if I use that, everyone would look at me like I'm an asshole. Because saying, you reject all moral principles? What the fuck? How dare you? Which, while technically accurate to the definition of there is no inherent value to anything in the universe, kind of strawmans me. Because here's the thing. Nihilism says there's no inherent value to anything. That doesn't mean you can't subjectively decide that this pencil is worth 1. It does not mean that this pencil is worth 1. It means that I have decided that this pencil is worth 1. There's a very distinct difference. This pencil being worth 1 can then be arbitrarily traded for something else that is worth 1. So who cares? Neither this thing nor the thing that we arbitrarily decided is also worth 1 are either one of them worth 1. We subjectively decided that this is worth 1. Inherent value and inherent purpose wasn't necessary. So, while technically accurate, this definition by Google is just a blatant straw man of nihilism. The rejection of all religious and moral principles. Technically accurate. Religious principles are, based on, hey, a religion decides this is worth this much. Ha-ha, ho-ho, boom. And moral principles, well, those are value statements. Those are very specifically value statements. And here's the thing with moral principles. They're all subjective anyway. By definition, God subjectively can decide the value of life or how much worship is worth to him, but that doesn't make it objective. There's no such thing as objective morality. So, even in the case that you're not a nihilist, it doesn't matter. Nihilism does not mean you reject moral principles in that sense. It means that you reject the idea that there is an inherent value to something. I'm a nihilist, but I can say, hey, I like honesty. I like when people are nice to each other. I like when people do good things for each other. Those are moral principles. But I didn't have to say, oh, there's an inherent value to these principles. No. And to the second part, that often in the belief that life is meaningless, who cares? I like living. I like living. So, by that just simple statement of, hey, I like to live, you can just live. Why do you need a specific number or purpose attached to it? You don't. Just live. So, longest story shortest. Don't use definitions that are emotionally charged. And if your definition is more convoluted than the other person's, then you actually might have to use the other person's. But you can't just let someone use their definition just for the sake of argument, just to continue the conversation. All right. That's about it. Talk to you guys later. Bye.